What's up guys, my name is Ace, and now that we've had a pretty big weapon balancing update with last week's update, I decided it was time for an updated version of my top 5 favorite class setups to use in Warzone currently. And before we hop into the classes, just a reminder, these are the best class setups for me, and I have worked quite hard putting these to the test and fine-tuning them to fit me and my playstyle and my preferences. It's okay to disagree with this, and I do encourage you guys to tailor the classes to your needs as well if it doesn't suit you. But let's just hop right into it, and with my Warzone classes, I have 2 different class setup types that I like using. The first one is an assault rifle combined with a sniper rifle, and the second one is an assault rifle combined with an SMG. So let's start it off with my class setups that are an assault rifle combined with a sniper rifle, and the first one here is incredible after this update. Pre-update, I wouldn't be using a class setup like this, but now this thing is ridiculous, and this is with the FAL. For those of you guys that don't know, the FAL got a massive damage boost from 0 to about 20 meters. And what this means is if you're fighting against an enemy that has full armor and full health, you can kill them in just 4 shots anywhere in the torso. And assuming you have a decent enough trigger finger to reach that fire rate cap, which is very achievable since it's capped at 500 rounds per minute, your time to kill value at this point for just body shots is almost twice as fast as most of the other guns in this game. There is just nothing that competes with the FAL up close now in Warzone. And that's not even factoring in the massive boost you get for headshots as well, which is insane. And it's just crazy. Even comparing it to the SMGs, there isn't a single SMG that has a time to kill value even remotely as good as the FAL up close. So I'm not exaggerating when I say this, the FAL absolutely decimates everything up close now. And this is why I do like combining it with a sniper rifle. But getting into the attachment setup that I found that just works really nice for me and the playstyle that I use with this, first up we got the monolithic suppressor, the XRK marksman barrel, which is the one that increases our damage range and helps with our recoil control a little bit, which is great. Then we've got a tac laser on there to help with our aim down sight time, because with all the other attachments, it does have a fairly slow aim down sight time, so it's nice to counteract that, and also it helps with our aiming stability, which is excellent. For ammunition, we've got a 30 round mag, just so we have a bit more ammo to potentially deal with multiple enemies that have armor equipped. And then finally, we have the Merc foregrip on there, which I did do a bunch of testing with all the different grip types with the FAL, and I did find that the Merc foregrip is simply the best for this gun. And that's pretty much it. I don't find this needs an optic or anything because, like I said, this gun actually excels from about 0 to 20 meters, or you can extend that more like 27 or 28 meters with the attachments you're using on this. And anything beyond that, you're better off just switching to your sniper rifle. So yeah, if you guys haven't tried the FAL out after this update, you're definitely missing out. This is possibly the new best gun in Warzone. The only downside is it's not incredible at longer ranges. But taking that into my class setup, this is going to be the same class setup I use for the next couple as well. I'm just going to swap out the primary weapon, but I'm still really liking the AX50. I know a lot of people prefer the HDR for Warzone, but there's just something about the AX50 that just works for me, and therefore I stick with what works, and that's why I like using the AX50. Then we've got EOD for perk 1, Overkill for perk 2, and Amped for perk 3. As for our lethal, this is a C4, which is great for dealing with vehicles, and our tactical is a heartbeat sensor. It is worth noting that I still stick to the strategy of picking an Overkill loadout for my first loadout, and then the second loadout drop that I get, this is when I will swap to a class that has the Ghost perk equipped, and I'll just pick my guns back up. And that pretty much covers it for my first class setup. However, let's move on to the next one, and this one is using the CR56 AMAX. With this gun, I did talk about this a little bit about a week and a half or 2 weeks ago, and I mentioned that it is a new rising star for Warzone for sure because it's got excellent time to kill properties. Now, to be clear, it's still not even close to the time to kill potential of the FAL. Like I said, nothing even remotely comes close to that. But with the AMAX, your time to kill is significantly better than a Grau, for instance, which is the most commonly used gun. Even after the update, I'm still seeing a ton of Grau. So you're still going to be beating those Grau users, and that's great. But with this, my preferred attachment setup is the monolithic suppressor, the XRK Zodiac barrel, which is the longer one, the tac laser, the 45 round mags, and the Merc foregrip. So pretty similar attachments actually to my FAL setup, but that's just what I like using. It's kind of that winning combination that works on a lot of different weapons for me. But with this, I feel quite comfortable with the recoil, so I'm quite accurate with this gun, out to a pretty decent range. But remember, I am going to be combining this with a sniper rifle, so extreme long ranges, I'm not using this gun. I'll be swapping to my sniper. But yeah, it's pretty easy to control. It's got an excellent time to kill value, deals quite a bit of damage to enemy players. And I've been having a lot of fun with this lately as well. It even beats a lot of SMGs up close. Now again, just for an overview, this is what the class setup would look like. It's exactly the same as the previous class setup, minus the primary weapon, but that's how I like running this. And I just feel like it's an excellent combination to be using with a sniper rifle. It's a very nice, consistent, easy to use sort of a setup. Next up, one of my favorite class setups that hasn't changed with this update. I really liked this one before the update, and I'm still using it a lot today because nothing has changed with this. This is once again the assault rifle sniper rifle combo, and with this, it's with the M13. And the way I like running the M13 is with the Tempest Cyclone barrel that has the integrated suppressor in it. I realize some people still like running the longest barrel and the monolithic suppressor, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I do like the freedom that this provides because it opens up an extra attachment slot for me. So I like using the Tempest Cyclone, a mini reflex optic on there so I can be a bit more precise with my shots, the skeleton stock, the 60 round magazine, and finally the Merc foregrip, which again, the Merc foregrip just seemed to be the best for the M13. And with this, it's just such a versatile and easy to use sort of a gun. Like anybody can pick this setup up and do very well with it, I feel. There's almost no recoil on this gun. It's super easy to control, but it's also got a great fire rate. So even if you are a little bit sloppy with your aim, you've got a very forgiving fire rate, so you can still get those shots on target. The time to kill isn't incredible by any means, but it's also not terrible. You can definitely hold your own, especially because you should be hitting your shots a lot more often with this because of the accuracy that it has. And yeah, I just really like using the M13. I actually preferred using the M13 over the Grau before this update, like before the Grau got the nerf, even though everybody else was using a Grau. But that covers it for the assault rifle sniper rifle combos that I really like using. Now I want to move into the final two classes, which are an assault rifle SMG combo. And the first one here is with the Grau. Even though the Grau got a pretty noticeable nerf with last week's update, it's still a very good gun for Warzone, just due to the fact that it is so accurate and easy to control. The Archangel barrel, which is what pretty much everybody uses, has an incredible iron sight, so you don't need to use an optic on it. It's got great handling, great mobility. It's just got that combination that works in Warzone really well, despite the fact that its ranges got noticeably reduced. And it's also going to take you extra shots to kill in that medium damage range if you're fighting against people that have armor. So it's noticeably worse than it once was, but it's still a top 5 gun in my opinion. And with this one, my class setup hasn't changed at all. We've got the monolithic suppressor, the Archangel barrel, the tac laser, 60 round magazine, and for the Grau, the Commando foregrip. That's the one that just seems to work best for the Grau. And like I said, this is the same class setup I was using before this update, and it still works great today. Now, when it comes to my secondary on this, like I said, we're combining this with an SMG because the Grau is so good at really long ranges that it's kind of overkill to combine it with a sniper rifle since both of those guns are great at long range. So with this, I'm using an MP5 just like I was pre-patch, simply because the MP5 is super easy to use. It's got an excellent time to kill for an SMG. It's super mobile, and I just really like this setup. With this, we're using the monolithic integral suppressor, which, just a reminder, this is objectively superior to the standard monolithic suppressor that you can choose in the muzzle category, because this gives you an extra range boost, and all of the other stats are exactly the same. But on top of that, we're using the FSS close quarters stock, which helps with our aim down sight time. I used to use collapsible stock, but that did get a nerf with the most recent update. So instead of dealing with that extra recoil that you now have, I just decided to switch over to this stock. Then a 45 round magazine, and then finally the Merc foregrip, which is clearly the best for the MP5. And that's pretty much it. The MP5 is still great for clearing out buildings. You've got a great time to kill value there, and it's also pretty versatile as well. So maybe if you're clearing out a building, but somebody's a little bit further away than you expected them to be, you can still challenge them quite comfortably with this gun without having to switch back over to your primary. Now, as for the rest of the class setup, once again, we've just got EOD, Overkill, and Amped, so I can swap between those guns nice and fast. Our lethal is once again a C4. I never play Warzone without a C4 because it's extremely annoying to be run over by a vehicle if you don't have a C4 available to protect yourself. And then again, we've got the heartbeat sensor here. But finally, this brings us to one last class setup that I wanted to share today. And again, this is going to be the same class setup as the previous one, with the exception being I'm swapping out the primary weapon. And this primary weapon is the Kilo 141. After this update, the Kilo now has better range values than the Grau. It also has a faster time to kill and faster fire rate than the Grau, which is great. And it's also extremely accurate if you don't mind recoil that leans a little bit to the left. But with this setup, I've got the monolithic suppressor, the Syngard Arms 19.8-inch barrel, which is the long barrel, the tac laser, The mini reflex, I'm not really a fan of the iron sights on this gun too much at really long ranges, unlike the Archangel barrel on the Grau, so I feel like an optic is kind of needed on this one. And then finally, to wrap it up, we've got the 60-round magazine. And just like with the Grau, this thing is great at really long ranges, so you don't really need a sniper rifle. This is its own sniper rifle, essentially. And I find, after this update especially, this is just an excellent alternative to the Grau. But with that, that's going to wrap it up for today's video on my current top 5 best class setups to use in Warzone. Of course, though, I'd like to know in the comment section below, what is your current best class setup? Is it really similar to one of the ones I listed in today's video, or is it something completely different? Just share that with me down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.